what's happening, YouTubers? Welcome to another top 5 list here on the Pack Photos YouTube channel. But first, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone that supported the channel as we just hit over 1,000 subscribers this past weekend. Now, on to today's video, I want to go over my top 5 McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse figures of 2022 so far. Now remember, this list is always subject to change by the end of the year because of the later releases like that Bane figure that was announced during McFarlane Toys Summer Showcase. I'm hyped for that figure, especially since the collect-to-build one was a little bit underwhelming. But without further ado, let's get started with the honorable mention. Alright, for honorable mention, I want to give it to Batman Year 2. This might be a controversial one considering a lot of these had QC issues with the arm and they broke off easily. Although if I remember correctly, McFarlane did say in an interview recently that they do have replacement arms for these figures through their customer service support. Anyways, I'm giving this an honorable mention because this figure is dope. We got a soft goods cape and a sculpted cape in the style of Todd McFarlane's art in Year 2. It came with an awesome base, and I felt like this was Todd having his cake and eating it too. He gave us the statue option, and then at the same time, collectors got the figure option with the soft goods cape. I'm not going to front though, I could see why many collectors hated this figure due to the cost of it and it having QC issues. But there's no denying aesthetically, this figure is amazing. Now, kicking the list off, at number 5, we have General Zod. First, it's nice to have a General Zod figure, given that the ones we had prior from Mattel were only based on his live-action appearances, so it's nice to have one in comic book form. Granted, this is his DC Rebirth look, it's still an awesome-looking figure. The sculpted rubber overlay allows the figure to have more range of motion while still hiding the cuts. Yeah, his arms look a little bit too long, but certain poses can hide it. There also has to be something said about the way McFarlane Toys is able to sculpt these capes so well in terms of aesthetics, to a point where it looks like a soft goods cape. A classic Superman villain we've been wanting for a while that wasn't movie-based, and McFarlane Toys was able to deliver. Next up at number 4, we have Dr. Fate from the upcoming Black Adam movie. I was extremely impressed with this figure, as you could probably tell from my review. From the newly sculpted wrist and ankle joints, the design choice for live action suit was almost perfect in my opinion, except for the helmet of Fate. Initially, I didn't like it, but then some awesome people in the comments were giving me another perspective and insight on it, and it really made sense why they might have gone for this design choice, which in turn made me appreciate the original head sculpt. I still think it looks almost perfect with the Injustice 2 head sculpt though. Breaking through at number 3, we have the gold label Todd McFarlane design Wonder Woman. I specifically chose this gold label version over the regular release because of the color of Wonder Woman's suit, and the gold label version is more true to her outfit colors in the comics. I'm a huge fan of this design because in a lot of ways, this has almost a Valkyrie design armor. It's an interesting take on Wonder Woman, and unlike the gold label Batman figure, Todd knocked it out of the park with this one. Coming through at number 2, we have Batman 3 Joker's Batman. Now, this originally was going to be my number 1 DC Multiverse figure this year so far, until recently. But this figure is as close to a classic Tim Burton style Batman we've gotten or probably will ever get from McFarlane Toys. I was a huge fan of this design mainly because of the nostalgia factor. It is a pretty tall Batman figure though in comparison to other figures in the line, but I can look past that because of the nostalgia factor. The detailing and texture of that head sculpt is pretty sick. The utility belt as well is very reminiscent of those Batman figures from the early Kenner lines. It really is a good Batman figure, maybe one of the best in the line so far, and was my favorite figure from McFarlane Toys until number 1 showed up. Finally, at number 1 and changing the landscape of the DCEU, we have the new Black Adam movie figure. As I mentioned, Batman held this spot for almost 7 months until the most electrifying man in all of entertainment showed up. That's a reference for those OG WWF fans out there. But this figure has such a fun fact to it. Like I mentioned in my review, because of the actor portraying Black Adam, The Rock. It's surreal to see this dude play Black Adam, and the fact that we got him in figure form is even more dope. This is easily McFarlane Toys' best head sculpt out there in terms of live action, apart from Snyder Cut Justice League Cyborg. The likeness to Dwayne The Rock Johnson is there. In addition to that, the sculpting of the suit is off the charts, and the wrists are pegs and hinges. There's no ugly ball joints. I mean, granted, they have been doing a better job sculpting those wrist joints lately. Anyways, this may very well hold the top spot of the year, unless there's another figure that comes out later this year that'll knock him off. But to be honest, it's going to take a lot to take the top spot from the great one. So there you have it, YouTubers, my top 5 McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse figures of 2022 so far. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Let me know your top 5 DC Multiverse figures of the year so far. Sound off. And like always, if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.